Hey guys, so this is going to be my first video on anime Vanguards because I think this update is very good. So I have this shiny Monarch Baiken from a very long time ago, and since the new Memoria, mechanic kind of, dropped, I thought she's gonna be insane, and she really is. Um, and I hope you guys understand why I think she's OP. So the first thing to consider, let's give us yen. Okay, on placement, and by the way, the recommended Memoria. I recommend this one because on placement she's gonna have a 15% crit, but she's also gonna be immune to status effect or debuff, and whenever something tries to inflict her that, she will counterattack. So she's effectively immune to 2 times, like she can be immune for 2 instances of a debuff or an effect. I'm just gonna jump to her max stats, and I just want you guys to see how much she costs and the damage she's gonna be doing. So, this is with the 10% chopper, by the way, which in my opinion, is the best one you can use on her. Her max cost is 716,000 money only, by the way. Now let's max her. This is with RUKIA buff, okay? So, like, you're always gonna be running RUKIA basically. And I need you to guys remember her SPA. So let's bring a calculator in here. So we have a calculator. First, let's do her passives actually. Here, it says she always follows up with attack 5. And she inflicts tethered on that follow-up, I guess. So she's always having double of this damage. That's the first part. By the way, the Memoria has Jack of all, and it is max level, and with a godly damage stat, it is at 14,000 damage, the Memoria. And whenever an enemy dies, she performs attack 1. Basically, an enemy, like, she always follows up with this quick chain attack, as you guys will see right here. That's her actual attack, and then the chain, wait, I need to skip some waves, I think. See that chain, and whenever an enemy dies, she does her first attack, which is that small AoE one, which means like on a single target she's gonna be doing like a lot of DPS, like especially like imagine there's a boss here and then there's many enemies. She's always gonna be following up like 3 times, but her like main DPS is always going to be the 2 attacks, which is still a really good amount of damage. And you guys need to remember, that's not only the good thing she does. She has 94 range with her RUKIA buff. She repulses, and whenever an enemy is, let's say, like at the end of her range, she can lock them in for an additional 4 seconds. But let's leave that for later because we need to apply all the buffs. So let's place an ERZA here. By the way, your ERZA does not need to be Monarch. I just wanted her Monarch because she is a holy unit, and as a DPS, I kind of needed another one together with Dio, so Elemental Towers and content in general. So ERZA is nearly there, so I'm gonna just place a Bikin back here. Wait, let me see her. Okay, so let's buff with Brook very quickly. The lag is kind of crazy, but that's fine. Okay. I wish they changed this Brook buff to be just a bunch of keys, like an expert mode, just so it's kind of quicker to do it. So, because it's kind of bad. Is my FPS limited? No, it isn't. So, this is her with these 3 buffers. Keep in mind she's following up basically 3 times on the first upgrade, but then later her third follow-up is like a small AoE. So this is her, damage. You can see her DPS, but remember, also her follow-ups are really fast, so it doesn't really matter, like, in terms of like let's say Broly, his follow-ups take a little bit, he's still gonna be following up, like, but her SP is so quick and her follow up is so quick. She's always gonna be like, she's not gonna lose any amount of time. So she's doing this much. We have to crit, but I don't know how to implement this on the calculation. But let's say this is times 2, and then we'll divide. So she's effectively divided by 4.7. She's effectively always at 500,000 DPS. But if she follows up another time, her damage went down for some reason. I think that's fine. So times 3. Now we divide this by 4.7. So she is like at her peak DPS without Burly, by the way. She's gonna be doing like 700,000 DPS while also repulsing and chaining enemies, and also the tethered. How tethered works whenever she applies it. You can read it briefly here. Pause it if you need to. So let's say there are, I don't know, 60 enemies. They will share 0.1% of all damage, but the damage is linked, which means, you know, like they're interlinked, so you can have a lot of extra damage from that, like over 200,000, 300,000, or even 400,000. Really depends on how many enemies there are and how much damage you're doing. So far, let's spawn a really tanky Vegeta here. He doesn't attack, he doesn't do anything, so I think he's the best to use. Custom spawn, let's add him right here, and let's spawn him. So he has 121 million HP. This is a good way to check her effective DPS. I think her effective DPS is actually glitched on the sandbox, because she is most likely not doing 30,000 effective DPS. Look at his HP. She already took 10 million and it's going more. See, she critted. But you guys need to remember her cost, her SPA, her cost, literally with ERZA is 60,000. Well, let's place the Broly back here. Actually, let's place the Broly right here, because I want to show you guys what else you can do with this team. Let's turn off his VFX because I don't want to see his domain. Okay. Now we'll skip some decent amount of waves. Now she's doing this much damage, but she's also following up. Oh wait. Oh wait. Okay, we'll need to reset. Sorry. My bad, guys. So what I was on is she was doing that much damage. For some reason she lost a little bit of the damage, but let's use Broly's domain, right? Let's turn off his VFX. Oh, I already did it. So let's skip until her crit is around a 2.05. So her DPS, actually let's spawn the Vegeta again, my bad. 5,000. Okay, look at his health. This RUKIA is attacking, but I just wanted you guys to see the numbers right here. So that was 2.3, 2.2. Yeah, RUKIA is doing like a million, but she followed up. Like if there's more enemies, she's gonna follow up 3 times. But look at her look at the damage she already did, and that's her effective DPS. It's still low, but that's glitched, I believe. So she's basically doing this much damage, I believe. But then since the crit is like 2.15, let's add 2.15, and then she's doing this much guaranteed, but then times 2. So she's always going to be doing this much, always, without considering the third follow-up. Now let's divide it by 4.7. So she's always going to have a million DPS with Broly and the buffs. And if she hits a third follow-up, she's going to do this, how much? Yeah, this much. And then times 2.15 because of Broly, and then times 3. So if she hits a 3 follow-ups, she's going to be doing this much. Let's divide it by 4.7. She's going to be doing nearly 1.5 million effective DPS. But what makes me believe she's better than most units is not only she costs only 60,000, she also has this insane support. And let's say the boss, you know, he's literally, wait, let me take off the multiplier. Let's put it 1,000. Okay, I don't know if she's gonna manage to kill the boss. Can I use this again? Okay. But it's fine, you guys can see her damage even without the domain. Yes, Rukia is attacking, but honestly... Okay guys, so I spawned in a really fast Vegeta right here, just so you guys can see. There isn't a visual indicator, or rather whether it is, you know, applied or not. So, just in that span, a really fast boss, without Broly, she already did like 13 million a little bit. So, that's without Broly, obviously. And then, look at what happens when the boss just reaches, you know, I'll just use it when he reaches here. Remember, her tension meter has to be maxed out, but that's achievable in a 15 wave run if you place her from the beginning. So, use, and look at that. He is all the way back, and she is, like, a boss cannot be this fast with this much HP, but, like, the boss, you know, he's gonna have to walk her entire range. This, I'm not even optimizing her range. If I placed her here, she could hit them all the way over there. And when the boss is here, like, they're gonna come back to here. So, like, that's, in my opinion, what makes her really OP. And another thing that's really good on this team, since she is so cheap, you also have the option to use Broly together with her as a damage. So, and Broly, we all know he's really insane in terms of damage, especially currently. As you can see, the UDPS is bugged on sand mode, I think, because like Broly is not doing only this much effective DPS. Like, yeah, you guys can clearly see that. But yeah, in terms of Memoria on Broly, I recommend this one, because if you place him together with Baiken, she's always gonna be, like, the enemies are always gonna be on absolute zero, which means you'll always have a effectively on her, you have like a 35% crit chance, and on him a 30% crit chance. And also for his familiar, I recommend the nullify one, because this takes off some mechanics that can debuff Rukia, I'm sorry, Baiken, and also this will buff Rukia, because like Rukia does not inflict nullify when she follows up. So when you have Broly with nullify, Rukia will do 50% more damage too, which I think is better. And also my Rukia has a crit, a Deadeye, sorry, on her Memoria, and also has a burp. And so, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you guys. So if you use these two units together, and honestly, you don't even need to use Broly. He's just a plus, but if you only want to use her, there's literally nothing she cannot do on the game. And I'm gonna hop in a rift so you guys can see. Alright guys, so we just hopped in the mode. Let's place down our speedwagons. And I just want to show you guys how OP she really is, especially for her cost and her support capabilities. And honestly, if you don't even want to use her as a DPS, you can, because her support is honestly crazy. Also, another thing I wanted to talk about, the Guilty Gear units are really high quality. I have actually never noticed how high quality they are up until a point like a few days ago, where I just kept checking them, and you know, they're super high quality. I don't know if this is okay. Yeah, so she blinks, and like no other unit I believe blinks except from the Guilty Gear update, which is kind of crazy. And also I think their attacks are pretty well thought. So for the Rift, you literally just need these two for the early game. You don't really, like, for the early game, these two can literally do it alone. So yep, as soon as they reach her range, you're gonna see how much damage she actually does on paper, right? Okay, they're absolute zero, so she's probably gonna crit. So I'm not gonna cut this video in any way so you guys can actually see it. She repulses, and okay, my farms are max. I am gonna buff with ERZA. Let's wait for her to attack once more. Okay, now let's buff. And by now, she can pretty much kill them alone, like with Rukia, right? But like, few upgrades and she can literally do this alone. Yeah, let's just do 3. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I need Broly for her best damage, like right now. I'm not gonna use Broly at all. I'm just gonna use him to buff. Okay, yeah, please just let me get it on wave 50, on wave 5, please. Oh, wait. Oh no, bro. Okay, I got that. So let's buff with Brook 2, then let's auto upgrade. Then let's Brook buff. Yep, such a good buff. I actually really hate doing this. It's like kinda annoying, honestly. But yeah. And remember, this is only Baiken. Like, if you really want to beat like everything in the game, you could use Broly to for damage, but you actually don't need it. She is completely demolishing the 6 million HP enemies, as you guys can see. Also, I do not like Broly's domain at all. The map just completely vanishes, and I really like looking at AV's maps. So, yeah, that's another thing I wanted to consider. So she is max already. Okay, she is max. I'm using, bro, I'm using only Speedwagon as a farm, just so you guys know. If you want, you can also use the nullify familiar on Rukia, because she's gonna be attacking with Baiken. So if you only want to use Baiken, just get a nullify familiar on her. But if you want to use it with Broly, put the nullify on Broly, as I think that's the most effective. Let's turn on the damage. Let's turn off the damage numbers, just so you guys see a little bit of her damage. They are taking shared damage, they are being repulsed, and if the boss manages to even get out of her range, she can literally pull them back. As you can see, her effective DPS is actually not this, it's actually way more, as you guys saw from my calculations. Her effective DPS without any form of buff is already at 500,000. So this effective DPS is not actually showing her real DPS, because then the numbers just shows that, like, if I times 2, like from the follow-up, yeah, you guys understand. So, yeah, 48 million HP, Dofi. Oh, and yeah, I forgot she also slows by 20%. It's not a big slow, but yeah, she does slow, which is also another plus. She's really good with leaks too, because like if an enemy dies here, she will follow up on that direction. So even if she targets a boss, like the other enemies are also technically gonna die. Okay, so she killed the first boss. Remember, she cost 60,000 only with ERZA. And yeah. Sorry guys, so I am back. As you can see, no major struggle really. Remember, these enemies, I believe they do have a form of damage reduction. Yeah, they have overshield and resilient, which means they are taking less damage each attack Bikin does. Oh, wait, they're actually barely taking any damage. And her EDPS is still at 400,000. Yeah, as you guys can see, a million damage from that attack. Yeah, and she didn't kill the 100,000 HP. So yeah, her EDPS is actually wrong here because of the enemies. Pretty much. But yeah, let me turn on the damage indicators again so you guys can see the tethered effect. I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, but it's like the tethered is also gonna crit, by the way, because when her crit is guaranteed, the tethered does crit. As you guys can see, there is no darker numbers, it's only, you know, these bright numbers, which means they're critting. Yeah, it's really hard to see the tethered. The only really like the only good way to see it is if they get past, and they just aren't. The boss is literally halfway through already, basically. Her effective DPS, as you guys can see, as soon as the other enemies are gone, you're gonna see her effective DPS go all the way up, since he's gonna be the only one effectively gonna, you know, be taking damage. Um, yeah, she is just crazy. Her effective DPS should be at its best now. Let's add her to bosses. I think we won't be even able to see it. Okay, 800,000, 840, 668, 1,200,000. With 2 follow-ups only, by the way, there's not even 3 follow-ups, so that's only 2 follow-ups. And yeah, so I think it's pretty clear she is very OP. Even if the boss made it all the way over here, I would just pull it back, and then, you know, they'd have to do it all over again. So yeah, that's Baiken. The new Baiken. Mine is shiny, full godly stats, Memoria, trash gamer with jack of all, familiar corruption 3, decreased cost. We're also using RUKIA, sorry, ERZA, Brook, RUKIA, which is like pretty much always going to be used, and then Broly, obviously, because she's an Unbound. And also look at the money I have spare. I would have money to max a Broly, and if I really wanted, I could max a RUKIA as well, or even the ERZA. So that's just kind of crazy. Like I'd have enough to max Broly and also another unit, so like this team can like, it's crazy. Like if I place Bikin here, like she'd pull the enemy from here to there. Yeah, you guys understand. It's just crazy. But yeah, I hope to see you guys again. So yeah, bye bye.